All right, welcome everybody. We're going to go ahead and get started. I know there's a few people that are still logging in, but they will catch up. And so today we're going to do a live website breakdown, and we're going to look at 3 different remodeler websites from around the country. I know we've got a few home builders on the line today as well, and this will still be very applicable to you, as a lot of these points that we're going to run through can apply to most websites. But we will talk about a few things that are specific to home builders and remodelers today. So before we get started, I always think it's helpful to know, who's putting on these webinars. So our company, Builder Funnel, we are a digital marketing agency, and we focus only on helping home builders and remodelers that are interested in growing their businesses. So if you're interested in kind of keeping the status quo, then probably not a good fit. We're looking to work with people that really want to get more leads and more sales. A little bit of family history. Our family has been in the home building business out in the Seattle area for over 100 years. I think it's 107 this year, maybe turning 108. They're still in business today. I think it was my great-great-grandfather, something like that, that started the business, and they do some spec home building, and they also have a remodeling division out there in the Pacific Northwest. And for us as an agency, we really focus on helping our clients get more website traffic, convert more leads, and then move some of those leads to sales opportunities, because it's not enough to just convert leads. And so we really focus on those 3 buckets there. And our philosophy ever since we got started has been to always be teaching and always be helping. That's one of the reasons we do webinars like this. We're very passionate about what we do in terms of inbound marketing, and we're really excited to help this industry and help home builders and remodelers around the country do better sales and marketing. A little bit about myself. I've been working in inbound marketing for about 7 years now. I got started when it was, the cool, hot new thing to create a Facebook business page, and it seems funny now just because that is the standard. Everybody that has a business pretty much has a business page on Facebook, but that, Twitter was pretty young as well, and there wasn't Instagram, there wasn't Snapchat and Pinterest and Houzz. Those all didn't exist yet. I run a team of 7 marketing experts, and we live and breathe this stuff all day long. We love digital marketing. We've moved into CRM as well. We really like, the integration of the sales department and the marketing department and how those 2 work together, and the tools we can use to add efficiencies there. Even if you have sales and marketing as one person, this stuff is really, really important. I have 4 different inbound marketing certifications, and a fun fact is I'm very lucky. I get to play beach volleyball all summer long in the Colorado mountain towns. So Vail, Breckenridge, Steamboat Springs, just get to go up there and enjoy the scenery and play some volleyball as well. But that's enough about me. Let's get into our agenda for today. First, before we get into the live breakdown, we're going to go through a 10-point website checklist, so you kind of have a foundation for what we're looking at when we look at these websites. And then we're going to dive right in. That's the bulk of today, is looking at these 3 websites and talking through some different things. If you have questions, I probably won't be able to see them while I'm doing the breakdown, but please type them into the chat panel. We're going to have some Q&A time later. We will have an offer just for those of you that are watching this webinar. We'll do that at the end, and then we'll have some time for Q&A, and I hope that we have some good questions that come up, and then we will wrap. We're looking at about 45 minutes or so, maybe 50 with Q&A today, so it should be a great webinar, and really glad you guys could join us. So let's jump right in here, and let's talk about the 10-point website checklist. So before we look at the 10 points, I just want to make it clear that there are dozens and dozens of things that we can look at when we want to improve a website. And so what we're looking at today are 10 things that We generally find major mistakes in remodeler websites or home builder websites, and if you fix these items, you'll most likely be ahead of 99% of your competitors, if not all of your competitors, because these things are a big opportunity for improvement, and I almost always see people doing a poor job in these areas. So that's kind of the foundation for this 10-point website checklist. And so the first one is on-page SEO, or search engine optimization. And so we're going to talk about, when we look at the live breakdown, is page titles, URLs, headers, meta descriptions, things like that. So this is on-page SEO. We're also going to look at the blog, and we're going to talk about a few different components there. And then we're going to look at service pages. This is an interesting one. There's actually a lot of remodeler websites out there that don't have service pages, so we'll talk about why they're important, why you should have them. And then we will look at the portfolio. And we're lucky. We're in an industry where we have really, really good visuals. Everybody likes looking at pictures of kitchens and bathrooms and exterior shots, especially when the photos are done really well. And so it's really key that you have an awesome portfolio, not just that you have a portfolio. It's also critical that you have full funnel calls to action. So we'll talk about this in greater detail when we get to the live breakdown, but just remember this is a very, very important one for capturing leads. It's also important that you're active on social media, so we'll take a look at that. And that you have testimonials and reviews throughout your website, so that you can be building kind of that trusted advisor status, and you've got some third-party references that kind of back you up, your company and your brand. It's good to have awards featured as well. So 7 and 8 go closely together. It's all part of trying to build up that credibility when people are browsing your site. We'll look at page speed, talk about why that's important. And then the last one is it mobile optimized? Is your website prepared for mobile website visitors? So let's go to the live breakdown. All right, we'll just exit the presentation here, and we will go to our first remodeler, which is artisticdesignandremodeling.com. Before we get started, I just want to preface this with this webinar is meant to come from a place of being helpful. So if you're from one of these companies that's being featured in the webinar today, just know that if you work on some of these items, that will really step up your game online. It should help you grow your traffic. It should help you increase more lead conversions on your website. And just know that this isn't meant to be bashing these websites. That's not the point of this. The point is so that we can all learn and improve and make our websites better. So with that being said, Artistic Design and Remodeling, they're located just outside of San Diego. So let's look at our first component, which is on-page SEO. So the first thing that I like to look at when I'm checking to see how somebody's done in terms of on-page optimization is I go up to the upper left, and you can see above the URL, this is what's called your page title. And your page title is what shows up in a Google search. It's actually the blue link that you would click. So if I typed in, Denver Remodeling Company, just as an example, then this blue link would be the page title. So that's what we're talking about when we look up here at the page title above the URL. In this case, we're on the home page, so the URL is just the same as the domain name. And then we also want to look at the header on the page. So I'm actually going to go to an interior page because it's a little bit easier to look at some of these components. So let's go to the kitchen remodeling page. And let's start again at the page title. So up here it says kitchen remodeling, and that's the page title. And the URL is /services/kitchen-remodeling. And then the header on the page, or H1, is kitchen remodeling. You can identify your header usually because it's the big text on, above your content on the page. And then the meta description is actually something you would edit on the back end of your website. And I'm just going to go to this search result. This is the meta description. It's that little bit of text below the link and below the page title in a Google search. So when we're talking about optimizing a page, we're missing a few components here. So if we really wanted somebody to find this page, they might type in kitchen remodeling, but kitchen remodeling is very, very broad. You're competing with everybody across the country for kitchen remodeling, and what we want to do is add that localized SEO to it. So if we look at the page title, a better keyword phrase to target might be kitchen remodeling in San Diego, or kitchen remodeling services in San Diego. And before we selected that keyword, we'd want to do some keyword research, and that allows us to identify which phrases, which keywords are people typing in, and which ones get the most searches per month, and that can help guide our decision making around which keyword we want to optimize this particular page around. But we'll just use some examples. So kitchen remodeling in San Diego is much more relevant to this page. It's better for people that are in San Diego searching, and they can find this page as opposed to finding some other remodeler that's not even in their area. So we'd want to have this localized, and then we'd come to our URL. So services isn't really helping us because we don't know if that's auto repair services, remodeling services, or any other type of service. We do have kitchen remodeling here, which helps, but again, we're missing that localized approach. So I would change this URL structure to be basically match what our page title is. So kitchen remodeling, so it would be kitchen-remodeling-in-San-Diego. And then we've got the page title and the URL matched, and we're doing a good job of telling Google what this page is about. And then we've also got our header. And so I would say kitchen remodeling in San Diego, or kitchen remodeling services in San Diego. Now the header is where we, our personal take on it is that we can be a little more flexible. Kitchen remodeling in San Diego actually reads fine, but sometimes when you optimize, for a specific keyword in your page title and URL, it's a little bit awkward phrasing to put it in the header if a user got to this page and was reading the content on this page. So I don't mind actually leaving this as kitchen remodeling as long as we've done a good job up here in the page title, the URL, and also in the meta description. So on the back end, we might have something like artistic design and remodeling is an award-winning kitchen remodeling company located in San Diego. Then we've got kitchen remodeling in San Diego built into our meta description. We've got it in our page title, in our URL, and at least we've got kitchen remodeling in our header, and really we're writing the content on the page for the user. So that's how you basically do a quick spot check of your on-page SEO. So one takeaway for after the webinar is browse through your website pages, look around, go to your service pages, your gallery pages, your about pages, and see, what do your URLs look like? What do your page titles look like? Are you optimized for relevant keywords and then also relevant local keywords? So that's the first one. So big opportunity here for artistic design and remodeling to upgrade their on-page SEO. All right, next component, let's go to the blog. All right, so first thing I noticed when I came to the blog was that it hasn't been updated since November of 2013, so quite a while. So my first takeaway there would be I would actually remove blog from the navigation here, because if somebody is browsing the site and then they click on the blog and they go, wow, they haven't updated this in 4 years or 3.5 years, they might, wonder, is this company still around? Are they doing anything? They haven't blogged in a while. They were blogging, at least at a somewhat consistent pace. Well, I should say not super consistent. We went from January, a couple in September, and one in November. But at least we could kind of see the path there. So that's the first thing. The second thing I noticed is actually they were doing a pretty good job with their titles of their articles. So you can see Mission Hills Attic Remodeling Ideas. Mission Hills is probably a neighborhood or nearby town outside of San Diego, and then they were targeting attic remodeling or attic remodeling ideas. What you need to know about San Diego Den additions. So that was their keyword right there. Solana Beach home remodeling, things you need to know. So Solana Beach home remodeling was their keyword. So I give them a check mark there for optimizing their blogs around relevant local keywords, but then it just wasn't frequent enough, and then it hasn't obviously been consistent since 2013. So getting a fail on that part of it. But I would say almost every single blog I go to in the remodeling space or the home building space is not doing something like this, where you're targeting like Mission Hills attic remodeling ideas. So I was actually pretty surprised in a good way to see that. And so if they just picked up their blogging pace and made sure they were consistent, this is the right path. All right, so let's go back to and talk about service pages. So they have the kitchen remodeling page, the bathroom remodeling page, so that's great. And then they also have the services tab. So they have residential remodeling, kitchens, bathrooms, additions, whole home remodeling. So that's great. I give them a check mark there because, as I mentioned earlier, a lot of remodelers actually don't have services pages. They'll use gallery pages to showcase kitchens, baths, etc. But then we're missing some opportunity from having actual service pages. The reason being, we're on the bathroom page now, and so in this instance, we would want to target, bathroom remodeling services in San Diego up in our page title, and then with our URL, bathroom remodeling services in San Diego. Bathroom remodeling, like we talked about, I'm good leaving that off. It's kind of interesting on this page, they actually have your San Diego bathroom remodeling contractor. So that would be the keyword that they were hoping to target for this page. But really, it looks like they did a duplicate H1, or this might be a header 2 or an H2. And they're missing big opportunity from not having that keyword up in the URL and the page title. So if they decided San Diego bathroom remodeling contractor was their keyword, that should also be their page title. So the reason we want to have service pages is that we can target all of those different versions of keywords. So kitchens is kitchen remodeling services in San Diego. Bathrooms, bathroom remodeling services in San Diego. Whole home remodeling might just be remodeling services in San Diego. And then you've got additions, custom cabinetry. But those are all different searches that people might be putting into Google or Yahoo or Bing. And so we want to have a dedicated page for each one of those. So definitely good job having service pages and multiple for all their different services. Just need to work on the on-page SEO. All right, the next one is having an awesome portfolio. So let's look at their gallery page here. All right. So first thing I notice is that there's just, this one gallery here, and we can kind of page through. I typically like to see the gallery broken out into, like a kitchen gallery, a bathroom gallery, or maybe you have it broken out by project. So it was the, Smith family whole home remodel, and then you can put all those photos together. Honestly, these photos aren't super visually compelling. Like this one's kind of an awkward angle. I think they're trying to showcase, some of the finishing here. This one, obviously trying to show the cabinets, but it's just kind of a weird angle. This one's okay. Same with this one. this one feels a little bit dark, and again, kind of a weird angle. It feels like we're missing some of the photo. And so, this one, I don't think I would include that photo. And again, photos are definitely preferential, from person to person. Everybody has a different feel for it, but I don't get the kind of the wow factor when I'm looking at a lot of these photos. So I don't know if they were taken by professionals or maybe just the way they're cropped or the angle. But I mean, the work is probably more impressive in person, and these photos aren't super visually impressive. So not a fan of just how they have it laid out. It's just one simple gallery and not broken out, and then the photos I think could be improved heavily. All right, so let's move on to full funnel calls to action. So this one I said was very important, and it's very important in terms of lead generation. So I'm going to go back to the kitchen remodeling service page, and let's say somebody did a Google search, and let's say this was optimized around San Diego kitchen remodeling, and they land on this page. They're reading the content, they see a couple of photos, they go, yeah, I'm kind of researching here. What are their options? Right now, their options are fill out this form. They can click and continue to browse, or they can kind of scroll back up and there's a free consultation here. They could hunt down the contact us way at the top. But let's think about how people search and buy remodeling services. Let's say I'm doing a search. I might be 9 months out from doing my kitchen remodeling project. So I'm just researching. I'm looking for ideas. I want to learn how the process works. I have all these questions. So I'm doing this research. I'll probably browse around the site and then leave because I'm not ready for this form here. This looks like I'm going to talk to somebody. I'm not ready for a consultation. I'm just doing research. So we install what we call top of the funnel calls to action or top of the funnel offers. And that might be something like a kitchen design guide or a remodeling process ebook. And so we could have a nice graphic, here that says, download your kitchen design guide or download our kitchen ebook to get some ideas. And when they click on that, they'll go to a conversion page or a landing page where it'll give them a brief summary of what's in the ebook or what's in the design guide. And then it'll give them a form to fill out and says, hey, fill out the form and you can download this ebook. So now they've captured me as a lead, and now they can send me their newsletter, they can send me project updates, they can see if I have any questions, they can reach out and offer help, and they can guide me as I'm going through my research process. So 9 months from now, when I actually go to start contacting remodeling companies, then Artistic Design and Remodeling, hopefully they've been staying in touch with me and building some credibility and helping me with the research process. So, much better chance that I'm going to reach out to them because they've been super helpful along the way. So top of the funnel calls to action are missing from the entire website as you browse around. And if you go to the gallery, there's not a lot to do there. If you go to any of these individual service pages, again, it's, fill out this message box, or I can click up here to request a free consultation. But most people that are on the web aren't ready for that stage. They're not ready to buy now. They are a good lead. They're a good prospect, just not for 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, a year. And so we want to bring them into our funnel, stay in touch with them until they are ready to buy, and then we'll be in prime position to get that job. So that's full funnel calls to action. Let's take a look at social media. So let's pull up their Facebook page. And we're not going to look at all the social media channels just in the interest of time. So we're going to go to Facebook and scroll down here. They've got some photos featured. They got a video, so I like that. And then we'll get down to their posts. So looks like they posted this latest one 18 hours ago, so pretty recent, March 17th. let's keep scrolling down here. Oh, I guess it's not letting us now, but the one thing I noticed is that they were pretty consistent on Facebook, so that's good. But where they were falling flat was that almost every post I looked at was very promotional. So for over 30 years, we've provided San Diego County with kitchens that offer creativity. Learn more here. Have you ever thought of having a kitchen of your dreams? You know, explore more here. And then there were several others that said, you know, basically, you know, hey, do you want to contact us, or are you interested in a remodeling project? Let's see if I can get Facebook to cooperate here. Yeah, so we're your one-stop source for kitchen cabinetry. Free quote, call here. We guarantee all our projects, learn more here. And so almost every post was too heavy on the self-promotional side. So definitely great job on consistency and posting frequency. But what you'll notice is because they're all promotional, no likes, no comments, no shares, no likes here on this post, no likes or interaction. Social media is really built to add value to your audience. So sharing project photos is great. You know, interesting information, asking questions, doing quizzes, but just saying, hey, contact us, or we're here to serve you, over and over and over again, it doesn't give someone much incentive to follow you and stay in touch with you. So they could definitely, you know, continue with their consistency, but just transform the content. So if you have an active blog, sharing that information is really great. When you complete a project, sharing those photos, tagging the homeowners in there will bring it onto their feed, and then their friends will see it, and that can be a great way to spread the reach. But this isn't a strategy that probably will be very effective for them. So they really got a lot of opportunity in front of them by changing their content strategy here. All right, so that is social media. And then I am going to run a page speed test. So that was one of the other points in our checklist. So this is just a Google page speed test. You can run it for free on your own site. Just go to Google and type in page speed test. It's developers.google.com/speed/page speed. It should be the first result that comes up. And then you just paste in your website URL, and it will run the test here. So let's see what comes back on the page speed test. All right, so on a mobile, it is a 44, and on the desktop, it got a little bit better, a 48. So on the mobile, optimize images, saying we definitely should fix. You can see we've got this should fix, consider fixing, and then pass. So in the should fix, we've got optimize images, eliminate some render blocking JavaScript, reduce server response time, and leverage browser caching. They've got some instructions so you can see how to fix some of these. And the big one that I see on almost all remodeler sites and home builder sites is with imagery. And the way images work is, let's say we're looking at you know, this image right here. It's a pretty small image, but this image was probably much larger before it was uploaded. So maybe the original size is like 4,000 pixels by 3,000 pixels, which is just huge. And if it was uploaded at that size and embedded here, and then it, basically your website shrunk it down to fit this spot, Google still has to load the original file size and then shrink it down. So if all of your images are massive, then Google's having to load all these big images and then reduce them. So the user sees the small image, but Google had to load the big image first. So we always recommend that if you want an image to fit this size, resize it you know, on your computer first, then upload it to your website, and then it's a small image, and that will clear up a lot of these issues. Just that alone, if you go through and optimize all of your images to just be the exact size that they actually show up, that will help tremendously increase the load time. So that's page speed is really important because it is a ranking factor today. So if you have a slow loading website, Google will tend to push you down in the rankings. If you have a fast website, they're going to push you up. And that's primarily because they want to give their users the best experience possible. They want to give them the best result possible, and then what are those results and how are those results coming into play? They want somebody to click on one of those page titles and go to a website that loads fast and gives the user a good experience. So page speed, there's definitely some room for improvement, and I would start with images. And then the last thing we'll look at here is we'll do a mobile check. So we'll shrink down. I just, instead of going to it on my phone, I'll just shrink it down to about phone size. And you can see it did shrink the content into a column, so it was responsive design. It responded to the size of the browser. And then it got this little menu bar here. Although the one funny thing is that it created a menu for those 3 call-out services, and then all the top navigation, that's probably pretty tough to navigate on mobile. So they need another menu like this for their top navigation because they have this set up here and this set right here. So I'll definitely give them the pass in terms of it is a mobile responsive site, but they should just clean up that menu there. All right, so that was breakdown number 1. We're going to go a little bit faster through the next 2 sites because we've kind of covered the how and the why on some of these components, but we're going to cover some new things as well. So let's jump over to Stewart Remodeling. Stewart Remodeling is located right here in Colorado Springs, actually, and let's look at their on-page SEO. So let's start on their homepage. Stewart Remodeling - expert kitchen, bathroom, fireplace, and home remodelers. So this one's a little bit better than the last homepage we saw because it's got some keywords in there. Kitchens, baths, fireplaces. I would say it has too many keywords, honestly. I would just stick with Colorado Springs Home Remodeler or Colorado Springs Home Remodeling Company, something that is relevant to the entire website and the entire company. But I'll give them, give them credit for at least trying to get some keywords into their page title, although they're still missing the local aspect of it. So let's jump over to the blog. And the blog wasn't in the navigation, nothing wrong with that. I ended up finding it down here. They had their latest posts, so I'll just click on one of those and that should get us over to the blog. And this one was how to prepare for a remodel. This was the latest post, but I noticed it was also from mid last year, so we're actually coming up on almost a year ago. So again, like the last one, not consistent. If I look at the archives, I can see May last year, this was the only post, and then February of 2014, and then they posted a few times in 2013, so very inconsistent. Again, it's probably better that those posts are in the footer, and so people aren't really going to come up here and find the blog and go right to it. And none of the posts are really targeting the local audience. So I looked at how to prepare for remodel, budgeting for a kitchen remodel, and a few other posts here, just kitchen islands. It's super generic. So when I've looked at all these blogs, I haven't actually talked about any of the content. The content of the blogs might be great, but the problem is nobody's going to find them if they're not basically optimized so that as somebody does a Google search, so how should I budget for a kitchen remodel? That's maybe what they would type in. They might even type in budgeting for a kitchen remodel. But again, if they're located in Colorado Springs, we might want to make this more localized and say, how to budget for your Colorado Springs kitchen remodel. We can include some more localized information in the post and maybe even talk about some rough numbers. That's going to be very different from somebody that's downtown San Francisco. So it really helps to make your content more specific and and more relevant to your local audience. So that's the blog. Let's look at service pages. So they do have some service pages, but it was a little bit confusing for me to figure out. So they had kitchen and bath. So let's click on that. And so this was their service page for kitchen and bathrooms. They did a good job of, kitchen and bathroom remodelers in Colorado Springs. They included that keyword in their header, although they're missing it in the URL. They actually have it in the page title, so kitchen and bathroom remodelers in Colorado Springs, so great job there. The second half of their page title, Stewart Remodeling dash Expert Kitchen, Bathroom, Fireplace, and Home Remodelers, looks like that's what the home page was. I would rather just see that pipe bar, Stewart Remodeling, and just end it there. And then they're missing Colorado Springs in the URL. So they're on the right track. They got it in the page title and the header, but they're missing the URL. So they have this page, and then they've got a couple of galleries here. Then they had Fireplace Remodeling, which was their service page, and then a gallery here. Custom decks and outdoor, looks like they don't have a gallery for that, but that's the service page. And then remodels. So that's where it got a little confusing for me, because aren't kitchen and bath and fireplace also remodels? This one I think was roofing additions and basements. So I would prefer to stack services and then kitchen, bath, fireplace, etc., and then have a gallery tab and break out the galleries. So again, that could be just some user testing that needs to be done, but it was a little bit confusing for me to navigate through. So let's go to one of the galleries here. Let's go to the kitchen gallery. All right, so I thought that this gallery was a little bit better than the last one we looked at, but again, this photo is a little bit dark and a little bit small. Some of these photos were okay, like this one they're trying to feature probably the backsplash and kind of this whole cooktop, which is pretty cool. This was nice. It had a lighter feel to it. This one is dark and the angle is a little bit weird. I don't know that this needs to be featured. This one was okay. The lighting is still a little bit off. This one is a little better. This one was dark and kind of a weird angle. So I think that there could be a lot of improvement in terms of their gallery. They definitely have some photos that are great. Like this one, I would maybe just blow it up a little bit, make it a little bit bigger. That one's nice. It's got some nice natural lighting to it. Lighting is just huge in a lot of these photos. So I like how they've broken out their galleries, so they have different places to navigate. I just think they could use improvement on the photos. So in terms of awards and testimonials, that's up next. I couldn't find any testimonials throughout the site. I did find one award. They had a House Award featured on the homepage, 2017, so that's awesome. Congrats. And then I would like to see those built into some of the service pages or gallery pages, like maybe having a testimonial down here along with the award, so that as people are learning more about you, they're also going, oh yeah, these guys are award winners. Oh, I can see some other people have been really happy with these guys. So they could definitely use some improvement there. Awards and testimonials are big. I know all you guys on the phone, you probably get asked the question all the time, can I talk to references? Can I talk to references? And can I see some of your past work? So these things really help verify that you're a great company to work with. All right, let's check out social media. So we'll go to the Facebook page again. And for Stewart Remodeling, I thought they were doing a pretty good job. They were pretty consistent, mostly sharing just photos. They had some reviews on Facebook, which is great. If they could take some of these and get them onto the website as well, that would be a huge help. But yeah, they basically got some different ideas. Here's some storage ideas. Here's a cool outdoor living space. And really, there's not a huge like call to action to contact them or get in touch. You know, these are just fun photos to look at, and you can see, you know, 2 likes. I think the last one had 1. You know, 2. So they're getting a little bit of interaction compared to the previous one. This one's got 5, showing the team photo. The previous Facebook page we looked at, none of the posts had likes, and so I think you can start to see the trend there, which is if you show interesting photos and try to interact with your audience, you're going to get a lot better interaction. So I think they're doing a pretty good job there. They could probably you know, ask some more questions or try to draw in some more engagement, but definitely not the top area for them to focus on right now. All right, and then we'll do, to finish out this website, we'll do a quick mobile check. So just sizing it down, and looks like it condensed the content, which is good, and it gave us a mobile menu, so that's great. They get a check mark there. So overall, I think, Stuart, the big opportunities are around on-page SEO, getting a consistent blogging strategy in place, cleaning up some of their service pages and galleries, how those are laid out, and really working on photos. Those would be their top areas. All right, let's move to our last website here, and that is Fine Remodel Utah, and these guys are located in Salt Lake City. So let's look at on-page SEO. So you can see their page title for their homepage is Fine Remodel. As we browse around, let me just go to like the About Us or our process page. They all follow this naming convention, which is just the generic name of the page, Our Process, and then Fine Remodel. So you can see the page title, the URL is Our Process, and the header. So definitely needs some serious work in terms of on-page SEO there. Let's take a look at the blog. So their blog hasn't been updated since mid-2016. So it looks like they were somewhat consistent about once. Well, I guess they had a few posts in 2016, and then it wasn't until until 2014 as we go back in time. And all of their titles are very short and generic and non-specific to what somebody might be searching for. So accessibility. If somebody's searching for accessibility, I mean, I would imagine almost 100% of the time they're not looking for what this post has in terms of content, or big changes, the treehouse. So the content might be really interesting. Again, there could be nothing wrong with the content. It's just a matter of changing your page title and trying to match that up with the content and what the user wants to see. So definitely some opportunity there around a consistent strategy and an optimized blogging strategy. No service pages. So they have a portfolio, but no service pages. So they're missing an opportunity to target, you know, kitchen remodeling, Salt Lake City, bathroom remodeling, Salt Lake City, all the different services. It looks like they even have commercial services. So they've broken their portfolio down. There's probably some keywords around different things they do from a services standpoint there. I like that they broke out their gallery here into residential and commercial. So let's look at the portfolio. I actually thought that this one was pretty good in terms of the photos. Much better than the previous two. You know, some of these photos I maybe would include or wouldn't. This one's a little dark, but it's a nice shot. You know, again, the lighting is the big thing, but this is a nice shot. The angle is good. You know, so as I scan through, this one definitely won the award of these 3 for the best portfolio or gallery. They either did a nice job staging or at least cleaning up, you know, for taking these photos. So great photos, I would say. Some of the lighting could be improved, but overall they had a good amount. I would, you know, maybe just consider breaking down residential into a few different, you know, areas like kitchen and bath. This website overall is hurting from a conversion standpoint. So we've talked about those top of the funnel calls to action like ebooks, design guides. There's none of those, but really across all these sites, there's no phone number, there's no request a consultation, set up a meeting. Really, the one option you have is to go up to the contact us. So massive opportunity. However many visits they're getting now, if they install just some more conversion points, they will certainly start to increase their lead flow. All right, let's take a look at Facebook. All right, so they were not super active on Facebook. As I looked through, it was a few times a month, but they had some interesting posts and actually got some pretty good interaction and comments on their posts. So the quality of their content is clearly resonating with people and doing a good job of getting interactions. So honestly, if they increase the output of their, in terms of the number of times they're posting, they would probably see a dramatic increase in engagement on their site, but also, or on their Facebook page, but also traffic back to their site. All right, so let's go back here and we will look at awards. So I did find one award. Again, it was on their homepage, but I would like to see that spread throughout the site on some different pages again, as people are researching. Their testimonials, I thought this was great. They had a bunch of testimonials and they were all paired with a photo, which I really liked. Kind of another step up would be to, if they had a project gallery for each one of these, then they could link out to that and somebody could go, oh yeah, I want to see this whole project or this whole project. And that would be a good next level thing to improve. But they've done a great job of capturing some testimonials and featuring them. I love that they've got the name and they've got a photo to go with it. So good job there. Let's do a quick page speed test. So we'll go back to our tool here and analyze. Okay, so pretty similar. So below 50, you got a 46 for mobile, 49 for desktop. And again, you can see that top item is optimized images. And so again, as you think about, when you run your site through this tool, I would imagine optimized images will be a part of it. And that can really make a big difference on speeding up your site. It'll keep users on your site longer. It should help your rankings as well. And then the final test, we'll just do a quick mobile check. And it looks like they don't have a mobile menu, but it is responsive. So that is a good sign. So we'll give them the nod there. And that concludes our live website breakdown. So let's go back here and let's quickly review just all the different things we talked about. So we talked about on-page SEO. We looked at those page titles, URLs, headers, meta descriptions. We looked at the blog and kind of the purpose of the blog, targeting keywords, writing good content, actually having service pages. We looked at a site that did not have any service pages, so definitely creating those so that you can target very specific keywords. Having a really awesome portfolio. That's one of the first pages that users go to after they get to a remodeling site or a home building site, is they want to see photos. So make them really good. Only put your best stuff up on the website. Full funnel calls to action. So this will help you capture leads earlier in the research process and make sure that you are one of the considerations when they go to purchase. Making sure we're active on social media and not self-promoting. We're sharing interesting photos, good content, and driving engagement. That will in turn drive traffic back to your website. Making sure that we're capturing reviews and testimonials and sprinkling those throughout the website so that as people browse, they're getting that reinforced. And same with the awards. Make sure you do a page speed test. We want to get that number way up from below 50 to make sure your site is quick and users are staying on it longer. And then, of course, making sure we have a mobile optimized site. All right, so before we get to Q&A, really quick, This was a live breakdown of 3 sites, but if you'd like your own live website breakdown, that is what we're doing for anybody that is viewing this webinar. And so we'll do a 45 to 60-minute call with one of our experts here. You'll walk away with actionable tips for improvement. So things that we did talk about on the webinar today, but also some other things as we get into more detail and we have more time to spend on just your website. We don't operate with heavy sales pressure. So basically this is how the call would go. We'd spend 45 minutes to an hour looking at your website, talking about what you can do to improve, what your sales and marketing goals are, and at the end of the call you can say, hey, this was great, but that's all I need, thanks, see you later. Or you can say, hey, this was great, and I think we should keep talking, maybe there's an opportunity to work together. If that's the case, we'll schedule another call to get into more detail around your sales and marketing goals. Both paths are fine. And so if you'd like to schedule that, just type in website breakdown into the chat pane, or just send me an email, spowell@builderfunnel.com, and I will get you scheduled. So that's what we've got for today, but we do have some Q&A time, so I'm just going to start pulling up and see if we've got some questions. And somebody is asking, what is a good speed for the website loading? That is a great question. I would want to see that getting up into the 70s and 80s right away after you make some of those initial changes. You can definitely, always be working on page speed. As you add more content and more pages to your site, it gets more challenging. But yeah, I would shoot for getting it up into the 70s and 80s, and then the rest of it usually tends to be very specific, somewhat technical items to try to improve. The other thing you can do is look at your competitors and run page speed for them and see basically how are they doing, and try to make sure you're staying ahead of your competitors. Good question. All right, let's see if we've got any other questions here. Thanks for the webinar. Absolutely, happy to do it. Excuse me, we've got another question here. This one was, how do you optimize the About Us page? So that's a good question. We always start with keyword research, but one way to do that is I always think about, what is the About Us page doing? It's talking about your company. And what is your company? It's a remodeling company. So generally, when I'm optimizing an About Us page, it might be, Colorado Springs Remodeling Company, because that's what we're about. That's who we are. And so that tends to be a good direction to go. It might be Denver Remodeling Company, or San Diego Remodeling Company, wherever you're at, or a San Diego home building company, or a San Diego home builder. But that's how I typically optimize the About page. Let's see if we've got any other questions here. All right, this one is, where should you put your top of the funnel calls to action? So that's a great question. Those top of the funnel calls to action, those are things like ebooks and guides. So we recommend that every page on your website, whether it's a services page, a portfolio page, a blog post, has 2 to 3 calls to action. So one of those would be a top of the funnel call to action. One would be something like a consultation, so that you're covering, those 2 different stages of the funnel, so that if somebody does a Google search and they land on your service page, they have 2 opportunities to convert depending on where they're at in their research process. Or maybe they Google and find a blog of yours, so that you want them to have that opportunity to convert. So the sidebar is a good location. Also at the bottom of the content is a good location, sometimes the top of the content. And we've even been experimenting with putting calls to action kind of in the middle of the content. So somebody reads a paragraph and then there's that call to action there as well. Oh, great question. Let's see if we have any other questions. All right, it looks like we've answered everybody's questions. If you do have other questions after the webinar, feel free to send me an email. It's up on the screen right now. And again, if you do want to schedule the live breakdown, just go ahead and type website breakdown into the chat pane, or just send me a quick email and we'd be happy to schedule it. Thank you all for attending. This was the live website breakdown presented by Builder Funnel, and I hope it was really, really helpful for you, and we will see you on the next one.